Thank you so much, Katie. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Foote, and I'm the Vice President for Teaching, Learning, and Evidence-Based Practices at the Gardner Institute. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be with you all today. I'm joined by two of my colleagues, Katie Locke, who is our Director of Marketing Communication, and Brittany Connor, who is our Associate Director for Marketing Communication. Katie's going to talk a little bit at the end of the session about the application process, or the registration process, I should say, and about some of the other things that we offer at the Gardner Institute. And I'll talk mostly about the teaching and learning community. So our focus today is on the teaching and learning community. And we are a small group, so you have the ability to unmute yourself and to come on camera if you wish. And I would invite your questions either, by you unmuting and asking them or putting them in the chat throughout the session. So don't feel like you have to wait until the very end to ask a question or make a comment. Please feel free to do so throughout the session. And we'll be informal, a little informal because there are just a few of us. Um, and, again, we can stop at any point to answer questions. So if you're not familiar with our organization, we're the Gardner Institute, a 25-year-old nonprofit organization geographically located in Western North Carolina, although our staff are distributed across the country. And we have a very strong commitment to helping institutions to help support student success so that all students have the opportunity not only to pursue higher education, but to graduate with a credential. And we do that in a variety of ways. And as I mentioned today, we're talking about our teaching and learning community, which is focused on professional learning and development for faculty. But we also have lots of other services and forms of engagement that you could be involved in if you wish. And as I said, Katie will share some of that at the end of the session. So I just wanted to reiterate my gratitude to all of you for joining us today. I know that this is a very busy time of the semester and the academic year. And I also know that this is, for some, a very challenging time. So I'm very grateful for the time and attention you all have given and will give this session. So I know you're here because you probably want to know more about the teaching and learning community. So what is it? And first, before I talk about all of the details, I have to share the team that helps to facilitate the teaching and learning community, because the team is really integral to the community and to all of the various things that we do. We have a fantastic team, very well respected and well known group of faculty developers, some faculty members themselves, but we have a variety of us who are involved in this work: Brian Dewsbury, Mays Ahmad, Josh Calkins, and Brad Witherick, and myself. So the teaching and learning community has been around for almost a decade. We're getting ready to celebrate a 10 years of professional learning and development for faculty. And we started off with a very close connection to a process that we have at the Gardner Institute called the Gateway Course Redesign process. At the time, it was called Gateways to Completion, but now we've kind of rebranded a little bit. So it focuses on the redesign of gateway courses. And originally, we created the teaching and learning community, or the academy, as we called it at that point, to support faculty that were involved in this course redesign process. So to fill the gaps for some of them that they had in their own professional development and the support that they received at their institutions. Some of them came from institutions without any professional development or support for faculty. So we were able to fill that void, and originally consisted of a launch workshop. We had faculty coming together for one day. During the pandemic, we made a transition. So we began to offer a more expanded selection of teaching and learning related professional development. And in the last year, we've expanded it even further, and we've rebranded. So we're now the teaching and learning community. So the current teaching and learning community includes courses that we offer in the fall, spring, and summer. And then also we have a community of practice. And we have an optional in-person opportunity that's connected to our symposium that we'll be offering at the end of October, beginning of November. So the teaching and learning community currently provides professional development to faculty online, so in the form of our online courses and through our online virtual community of practice. In the fall, we have a course that focuses on Gateway course design, and that has synchronous and asynchronous content. I'm not going to talk too much about that today because really we're focused on the spring course, which will be beginning on March 18th, so just around the corner. And so our spring course is Teaching for Impact, which I'll talk more about in just a moment. And that includes synchronous meetings and some asynchronous material. We have a signature course offered over the summer, and our focus has been on the humanity of inclusive practices, but given everything that's happening in our country, we're working on renaming that. We're referring to it as our signature course because we've had that since 2020. And the focus for that will be on well-being. So our well-being as faculty and well-being of our students. And then we have the community of practice, which occurs on a 4 to 6 week basis throughout the academic year. And we look at topics that members of our community tell us are important. So for example, we've talked about different grading practices. So looking at ungrading and providing equitable feedback, engagement in traditional face-to-face courses or on-the-ground courses, as we might call them, engagement in online and hybrid or blended courses. So there are a lot of topics that we consider in our community practice meetings as well. And we have a course redesign framework, and I know that this is impossible to read. So the intent here is not to read it, but we have a course redesign framework that the members of our teaching and learning community have access to and can use as an inspiration as they think through the different things they may want to do in their courses. In the teaching and learning community, we support faculty who are doing course redesign, but course redesign, the way that we define it, can be, something that is small, incremental, measured change. It could also be something a little bit more significant. And it could also be the design of a new course. So we have lots of different categories and examples of pedagogical course structure and other sorts of changes that you can make within your course in this framework. And you'll have access in the slides to a link of a PDF so you can take a closer look at the framework if you're interested. So now I want to talk more specifically about what we do to help support faculty in the process of course design or redesign in the teaching and learning community. And I really want to focus on our spring course because that's the one that is coming up, but I'm also happy to talk about the summer course. And if anyone is interested, I can also talk about the fall course. But the spring course is titled Teaching for Impact. And specifically, this course is designed to give faculty, staff, teaching assistants, whoever it is who takes the course, just in time strategies that they can use in their courses. So we want to give you things that you can practically apply in the moment, but also later on. So as you're thinking through aspects of your course design and delivery in the future, you could use these ideas further on, but you definitely could put them into practice right away. So these are real tangible, student-centered strategies. And in the course, you don't have to have any background at all in course design or pedagogy. We welcome anyone from any sort of background or discipline. So to further elaborate on that, we also welcome any full-time or part-time faculty member. I mentioned students. We have had graduate students and even undergraduate students who've been involved in our teaching and learning community, and teaching assistants, professional staff and administrators, instructional designers, faculty developers, any of those individuals. I always say anybody who cares about teaching and learning should be a part of our teaching and learning community. So we welcome anyone and everyone. And this is very much an entry level sort of course. So you don't have to, again, worry about having a background in any of this. We're, helping to meet you where you're at. So our specific focus for the spring is on new ways to consider or talk about equity in the classroom. This is obviously something that is very valuable in this moment. This has a very contemporary focus. And some of our topics include leveraging the power of difference and establishing a culture of belonging, cultivating critical dialogue, and differentiating approaches for collective excellence. So this is what we're focused on for the spring term. Each time we offer this course, which is every spring, this is our first time offering it, but in the future, every spring when we offer this course, it will have a different focus. And the focus comes from participants in our teaching and learning community. So people that we're connected to telling us what's important. And then of course, us in our work as faculty developers, observing the landscape and saying this is something too that's very valuable and important to our teaching practice. So the topic will change. So if you decided that you weren't interested in this, there'll be a new topic for next spring. These are the course dates. We're beginning on March 18th and we run until April 28th. We have 4 1-hour sessions that are synchronous. And then we have community hours that are sprinkled throughout the course. And those will be scheduled later as we get closer to the start of the class, like as the class begins. I'll be doing a poll to find out, from the options that we have, what's the best for most people. And then I'll schedule those community hours, and the community hours will provide an opportunity to connect with each other and also to connect with our teaching and learning community team. So we have opportunities synchronously through these sessions and also synchronously through the community hours. We use a learning management system, Brightspace, so there are also ways to be connected through discussion boards and other fora that we have developed within that space as well. All of the sessions will be recorded and posted in Brightspace. You'll have access to those within about 24 hours after the synchronous meetings. So I want to pause here before I go any further to see what questions you have about the teaching and learning community. I've given you a brief introduction to it overall, the components of it, and also I've shared with you a little bit more about our focus for the spring course. But let me see what questions there might be about that or about anything else related to the community. And feel free to use the chat or you can unmute yourself, or we can just keep on going. It's all good. All right. Well, seeing and hearing no questions right now, we'll keep moving along. But again, I welcome any questions or comments. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about what we have learned related to course design slash redesign through the teaching and learning community. I think that this is helpful because it can illustrate to you all as potential participants the kind of learning that you might have as well, or that your colleagues might have if you're here on behalf of your institution and reporting back. This is a link to a blog post that I co-authored with one of my colleagues, Brent Drake. And this documents some of the outcomes associated with the Gateway course redesign work that was done in the University System of Georgia. So these are faculty who were involved in our Gateway course redesign process. And also at the same time, we're in our teaching and learning community. At that time, we called it the Teaching and Learning Academy. This highlights a couple of different cases. We're looking at, a college algebra class, an American history course, and an introductory English course, and identifying some of the different approaches that the faculty took to course design, redesign, and the outcomes. So the faculty reported some outcomes, but we also looked at more longitudinal outcomes associated with their course design efforts. So this capture some of that in the short blog post. And just for context, Gateway courses at the Gardner Institute are not just introductory math or English courses, but we consider any course that would be high enrollment, high levels of Ds, Fs, withdrawals, and completes to be Gateway courses. So these are courses that serve as a gateway into and through a student's major and into and through the general education as well. So oftentimes they're courses that are prerequisites for their major courses. And, when I say high enrollment, high rates of TSFs, withdrawals, and completes, that's all relative. It depends as an institution as how you would define that. We also have 2 open source publications, 2 right now. We have others in the works that will be coming soon. But we have 2 right now that document some of the work of the faculty over the years, the last several years, in our Gateway course redesign process. And again, these are faculty that have been involved in the process, but also involved in our teaching and learning community. And you'll see if you click on the links that are in the slides again, that take you to these open source publications, we have a very wide range of disciplines represented within these 2 volumes. And there are also some administrative cases. And these are largely co-authored cases. So they speak to the work that's been done collaboratively with faculty in terms of course design and redesign. So what that means is these are faculty members who have agreed to do similar things, or in some cases, the same things in their courses, and have studied the outcomes. So it can be really inspiring, again, when we think about the potential. And, if you look at it as, instead of throwing everything out and starting again, if you look at course redesign as being something that's incremental and measured, it can be a lot easier, maybe even a lot more palatable to us, as faculty members. I say that because when I was a full-time faculty member, I had an experience where, we did course redesign where we threw everything out and started again, picked out a new text, worked on our learning outcomes, and, really built the course back up from the ground. And I understand that that's something that some of us do. And then, you know, if we think though about what it might be sustainable at this point, or achievable and sustainable, sometimes the small incremental changes can make a big difference. I also want to share, and these are linked as well in the slides that you'll receive, 3 pieces that we have written, the fellows and I, about some of the learning that's come from our teaching and learning community over the last several years. We've made other presentations and have some other publications that hopefully will be coming about this work. But it documents some of the outcomes, particularly the Humanizing STEM article reports some of the outcomes from the work. So this is from interviews, in-depth interviews with participants within our teaching and learning community, to find out about some of the work that they've done in their courses and some of the challenges that they've encountered and how they've worked through those challenges. So we have a follow-up to that we've been working on, that we've presented on, and we're writing a paper about as well. So we're excited to follow that along and to learn more about the longer term impact of this work on student success in these courses. I'll pause here to see if there are any questions before I hand it off to Katie to talk about the next steps. Oh, there's something in the chat. Is there an opportunity to teach my redesigned course at your institute? So our organization is not an institution of higher education. So you would not have an opportunity to teach a credit-bearing course at our institute because we're not a college or university. I hope that answers the question. Okay, I think it does. All right, Katie, shall I turn it over to you?
Sure. Thanks, Steph. So I'm Katie. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications. So I'll just give you a little quick overview of what the investment is to get involved and how to do it. So this is a simple register online. We will make sure you have the link to register, and there's no questions, just fill out a registration form. We have designed the teaching and learning community so that there are 3 opportunities during the year to join the community, or you can just opt in to take 1 or 2 courses. So the courses are $680 each, and there's a discount for enrolling in more than one. So it's $680 for one, $630 for 2, I think, and $580 for all 3. And if you register for all 3, then you also get the community of practice, which includes those things Steph talked about. So, and there is an institutional rate, which is significantly less expensive if you have up to 10 people at your institution who are interested. And then as you have more people at your institute interested, the price goes down. If you are participating in the Gateway course redesign or the transformation process, there's no direct fees for participating in this community. I'm just having a little bit. What day are you starting, Steph?
March 18th.
March 18th.
Yep.
I was thinking it was anyway. So we will accept registrations up and through March 18th. So you have a little bit of time to go ahead and do that. The website, the registration site allows you to pay directly with the credit card. We can also invoice you if you need to do that for your institution. And so the Teaching and Learning Academy is one of many academies and communities of practice that we offer. It is the Teaching and Learning Community, not the Teaching and Learning Academy. We recently changed the name. But here's a list of some of the other things. So if you're interested in first year or retention, there are academies and communities of practice specifically designed around those. If you're unsure what you're interested in or what is the best fit for you or for your institution, we'd be happy to have a conversation with you and help you figure out that best fit. And you can just reach out to us at info@gardnerinstitute.org. And I will add one more thing, but wait, there's more. We do have every year an annual symposium. This year it is in October. It starts October 31st in Chicago. And on the 31st, there will be, thank you, Steph, there will be a full day teaching and learning community event. So as a pre-conference, so you can do that as a standalone, or you can do that as a pre-conference. And just in advance of that, we are also having the Graduate Student Experience Conference. So you could do the teaching and learning community in conjunction with either one. So happy to answer any questions about the in-person events or the teaching and learning community, though Steph is the expert on it.
Katie can answer lots of questions though. All right, I'm in the middle of a trip. I'm so sorry I have to leave for now. Thank you so much for joining us and safe travels. We appreciate it. I'll go ahead and stop the screen share and then we can also stop the recording. And if there are any questions, we're happy to answer them. And if there isn't, we'll get you the slide.